It's interesting how things are coming full circle. When I was in the military, which was quite some time ago now, they'd call you in a room with your commanding officer, the first sergeant, and your platoon sergeant, and ask you a series of questions. The most important question being, if you were ordered to fire on American citizens, would you do so? My reply was answering a question with a question. Sir, I didn't think that was our job. We're supposed to be defending our country against foreign invaders. And again, they asked, would you fire on American citizens if ordered to do so? And my reply was no, and they promptly dismissed me, with no explanation of why these series of questions were asked in the first place. Well, come to find out, it had to do with something called Rex 84. Kind of like Jade Helm. A plan to subdue, relocate, and re-educate American citizens who weren't willing to go along with the new authoritarian government that someone else, meaning the UN and the New World Order, had in mind to install in this country. Interesting enough, Project Veritas just came out with a report today about a Bernie Sanders field organizer talking about just that. Rounding up and relocating and re-educating what he called Trump supporters, who he labeled as Nazis, saying that it was the only way to cleanse the country of Nazism. Well, something that I know isn't true. There might be a percentage point of actual Nazis living in the United States borders. And the reality of the situation, it's the people who want to institute an authoritarian government and do such a thing who are really the ones following the Nazi ideology. Bernie Sanders calls himself a democratic socialist. This is what you get from socialism. This is where it always leads. This is where it always will lead, and it will always be the end result, is an authoritarian, corrupt system that only thinks of itself and the policies that it wants to institute, and the rest of us, meaning me and you, be damned or dead. And if that's not bad enough, he went on to explain that if Bernie Sanders didn't end up being the Democratic nominee or didn't win the presidency, they were going to burn down Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And when the police showed up to push back against it, they were saying that it would incite riots in other major cities. I made a video a while back about the Weather Underground and their policies and beliefs. And what was said in this Project Veritas report is directly from the Weather Underground handbook. This is what happens when schools and colleges glorify socialism, a political program that has never worked successfully and will never work successfully, because it takes the power of the many and puts it in the hands of the few. And as we all know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that has been throughout history the result, every single time. Anybody with a lick of common sense ought to know. Free health care for all, free college for all, and open borders will break the economy. There's no way that you could sustain that kind of expense. And anybody who would believe such a thing is either an idiot and has their head up their ass, or just wants to see the world burn. So take a lesson from the past few years, because they have demonstrated it wholeheartedly. A vote for the Democrats is a vote for failure. They can't even pull off a decent frame job and have it stick.